Here's something that you do not hear reported in the American media. This isn't in the Russian media either. This is in actually the media in Ukraine. This is a very shocking update on some very surprising allegations about the coronavirus. Buried hazardous containers found buried in the evacuated consulate in Wuhan, China, needs explanation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China formally requested the United States to explain the biohazard containers that were found buried in the evacuated consulate general in Wuhan. The PRC security forces cordoned off other U.S. diplomatic missions in the country. An official statement by the Foreign Ministry said the containers were found on January 30th, after the U.S. Consulate General in Wuhan in full force was evacuated on a special board of the U.S. Air Force in connection with the outbreak of the new virus. The search was carried out after Chinese intelligence passed on some undeniable materials, the contents of which have yet to be disclosed. Since attempts to get comments on official enclosed channels within a few days did not lead to clear answers, we decided to move this question to a different level and demand the answers in public. China is also initiating a meeting of the UN Security Council, said Foreign Ministry spokesman Hua Chunying. The department said the total of 8 containers of biohazard were found. Xinhua News Agency also published their photo in a military warehouse near the consulate. The boxes were wrapped in 2 layers of tarpaulin, tarps basically, and buried in the backyard of the consulate general at the depth of 1.5 meters. Now 1.5 meters, for you that don't know, is about 5 feet. 4.5, 5 feet. The contents are now being studied by the Chinese military biologists. Chinese scientists have found the genome of coronavirus with an autograph, or the signature, of the American biolaboratory Raven Lab. Scientists from PRC decrypted the 2019 nCoV coronavirus genome and found in it a signature of the American biology laboratory Raven Lab. Specialists talked about their discovery at a press conference in Beijing. A characteristic imprint was found in the structure of single-strand RNA. After deciphering one of the sections, the scientists transferred the data to a spectrogram where the letters RV and LB were clearly visible. According to experts, the likelihood that they appeared spontaneously tends to 0. Random mutations can explain the appearance of this inscription only theoretically. In practice, the well-known Raven Lab laboratories use similar coding methods to mark its engineering projects. We have already seen something similar before, and now we are fully confident this is the same label, said Kim Shishon, head of the Szechuan Biology Laboratory. The specialist added that the tag was placed on a site that is usually not readable other than with the use of advanced American technology. However, the developers did not take into the account that by the beginning of 2020, China had a new RNA scanner called Red Dawn, which is not inferior to American counterparts in scanner quality. Information about the find was transferred to the authorities of the PRC. Chinese diplomats have already said they intend to raise the issue at the UN Security Council. Further study of the virus is ongoing. So basically what this is implying is that the new coronavirus was probably let loose by the American government, and they took the containers and buried them at the embassy, or whatever that happens to be there. So a lot of the people are going to say, do I think it's true? I know you may or may not think it's true, but do I think it's true? I don't know. At this point, I don't really put anything past the American government. But that being said, I don't really put a lot past the Chinese government either. I personally believe that the weapons in Syria I think that's a U.S. operation. Whenever chemical weapons are used on the Syrians and they blame Assad, I think that's the Americans doing. But in this case, look, let's be frank, coronavirus is running rampant. It's killing thousands and thousands of people, and it's only getting started. It's going to kill thousands and thousands more. And I think the Chinese need an explanation. And I think if they can point the fingers enough, that it's a good explanation. Of course, now there's the other side of it. The US is engaged in so many nefarious acts against people all over the world. Do I think that they are absolutely capable of this? I do, yes. So, with those two ends of the spectrums, do I believe China's statement? I don't believe it or disbelieve it. It's going to have to, I'm going to have to see more evidence. Now, the one thing I can say is, if there are scanners and they can pick up these tags from the coronavirus, right? Then I think that wherever they find the coronavirus, the people with these scanners are going to be able to find this information. They're going to be able to see it. So these cases that have, these people that have died in the United States, they should also have the coronavirus that has the RNA with the tag of Raven Lab. And if it's true, do we ever think that that would make the light of day? Probably not, right? I mean, if we're being honest here, if the American government is involved in this, do we really believe that if they're one of the only people with the technology to read the evidence to prove that they are culpable, do we really believe that they're going to come forward and say, oh yes guys, it was us? No, of course not. And they would cover it up until the very end. So, I don't really take a position in this. I'm on neutral ground until further evidence comes out. But it's interesting that you're not seeing this information reported in the American media. There are several places that it's being reported worldwide, just not here, just not in the United States. So we're gonna have to see, we're gonna have to follow this closer and see what's going on here.